It's time for the Chips and Salsa Show.
The only show about Latinos for Latinos. And did we mention Latinos?
It's latísima.
Latinos come in all flavors, shapes, and sizes. You don't have to be Latino to enjoy chips and salsa.
Everybody loves chips and salsa.
What's up, everybody? Zeke Rodriquez here with the Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico, filling in for Miss Alice Lara. She needed me to fill in tonight, and I'm more than happy to do so because we have an amazing guest coming up here, Mr. Tim Foley. He was here with us about a month or so ago, if you guys remember, and he's a gentleman that is actually the badass that's on the border, the only guy actually patrolling the border, looking out for our best interests here as a country, and we're going to get an update with him. So again, it's Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Mr. Foley, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me back.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming back, man. I was excited to talk to you because, as we all know, we are getting crazy stuff coming from the border these days. It's almost getting crazier by the day. And so if you could, please, sir, reintroduce yourself to the audience in case those who missed our first interview with you, so they have a quick update and are a little bit more abreast with who you are and what you do. And then, yeah, jump into whatever you think is most prudent, man, what's most pertinent for the situation, bro.
All right. Like I say, my name is Tim Foley. I'm the founder and field operations director, Arizona Border Recon. Started back in 2010. We've been monitoring the cartel on the border for 14 years now, and I've never, ever seen anything like this. This is
wow.
It is crazy. I mean, in the past 2 months, 190,000 a month are coming across. So that puts it at a 380 total in 2 months. And in 3 months, there's been 600,000. That's more than 50% more than when Donald Trump was there his last year. There was only 400,000 the whole year. Yet in 3 months, the past 3 months, we've got 600,000. In Arizona, there's 2 hot spots right now, the hottest spots on the border. One of them is Lukeville, Arizona, which borders the Oregon Pipe National Monument, which is a pristine, well, it was a pristine area. It's now being trashed because so many are coming over and it's now becoming wintertime and it's dropping below freezing here at night. They're tearing up anything and everything they can get their hands on to burn. And the other one is the San Miguel Gate in the Tana Odom Reservation, which media is not reporting, and nobody's reporting because you can't actually, they're denying access to get down there. The Tana Odom Reservation's averaging 1,000 to 2,000 a day. And Lukeville is averaging 1,000 to 2,000 a day.
Okay, so aside from this giving me a fucking panic attack, excuse my language, how are we verifying these numbers? Because you said 600,000 for 3 months, and you said 190,000 a month. How can you verify those numbers? Where are you getting those numbers from?
That's all CBP numbers.
CBP, what's that?
Customs Border Patrol.
That's Customs Border. Jesus. Okay. So those are solid numbers, then you're saying?
Well, those are the numbers of the ones that are walking up to them. That's not including the gotaways.
And the ones that are being smuggled as well.
Right. The gotaways are averaging 75 to 90,000 a month.
So it's actually more like a million for the 3 months then, because that's ramping the number up quite a bit.
500,000, yeah.
A month?
No, I mean, you get
that's
600
an extra
and then,
$500,000.
Yeah, $750,000 right in there. Lukeville, they're coming from Pakistan, China, Africa, the Middle East. They're coming from everywhere. My thing is if you're coming from a third world broke ass country in Africa, where'd you get the money to fly all the way to Mexico and then pay to get your butt hauled all the way to the border? Who's paying for all this? you know.
And it's weird because it's like they're giving false hope. They're like, oh, a lot of them are going back. They don't want to be here. You hear that. It's kind of a recurring theme you see on the news these days. Like, oh, they don't want, like the Venezuelans, like they don't like it here. They're going back. But here you are telling me that it's even worse. Well, of course, they're never going to tell us how bad it really is, except for
No,
you here, man.
no.
And it's probably worse than what even you see and what you know, right? This is
Yeah.
what they're telling us and what they can show us.
Well, see, and what nobody's reporting is a little town to the west of me. I used to live there, but I got thrown out for asked to politely leave because I was stopping too much meth. Town called Sassabee. On the other side of the border from Sassabee is a town called El Sassabee. Has a population of 2,500 people. There's 50 people left. They've all left because the new cartel's moving in, and they're battling since October 21st in that town. So 2,500. They won't let those people through who live right on the border, who have kids and everything else, who are definitely fearing for their lives. Customs wouldn't allow them to cross. So what they've done is they've gone to the big holes in the wall, and they've come across, and they're staying with relatives up in Tucson. The war down there is getting worse. I mean, there's videos out there right now where Border Patrol is on one side of the fence, cartel's on the other side of the fence, and you can see the cartel standing there taunting them while they're standing there with power saws waiting for them to leave so they can cut the fence. We've lost total control of the border. They're starting to push deeper and deeper in. 3 miles to the east of me, I just recently received reports from some of the local people that there's an abandoned ranch 3 miles east of me, and we're about 8 to 10 miles in, and it's being occupied by armed cartel. So I'm putting together a team, and we're going to go start looking at that in the next day or so. We're going to go high and lay eyes on it and see what we come up with. I mean, it's insane what is going on. I mean, I tell people this has nothing to do with race, because every race in the world is coming across the border. This has to do with sustainability. The cost right now, I just read a report. Alice read the report. I don't know if she shared it with you, but if not, I can get you a link to it.
Yeah, please do.
This study says that the overall real cost of what is happening is $415 billion a year. California.
Well, they figured they already printed it all out, so they're just probably waiting to dole it out,
Well, yeah, what they're not going to give to Ukraine anymore, they'll give to the illegals.
Yep.
California has passed a law where 304,000 illegals in California that they're paying for their medical costs at a cost of $4.8 billion just in the state of California. And with the other states, you're looking at another $5.4 billion. So there's $10 billion right there. I mean, it goes on and on. There's two groups within Border Patrol that they're the elite. They're called BORTAC, which is Border Tactical, and then BORSTAR, which is Border Patrol Search and Rescue. And they've now been relegated to processing. So the heavy hitters that go after the cartel, the armed cartel, and the dope smuggling and shit, they've been pulled off their duties and put to filing paperwork. This is non-sustainable.
I mean, Trump's doing really good in the polls, and they've even said that even with the immigrants that were here already, because of the cumbersome ability to get them, even if it's fraud, to get them to vote, even with that, Trump would still win at the current. He's got the biggest lead in American history, right? I mean, more than George Washington pre-primary. But it seems like they know that now. And I mean, like I was just in Southern California. I was just in LA. I'm here in El Paso right now as well. I'm from Las Cruces. I was spending some time in Albuquerque, and it's like, even though the economy is going to be tanking next year, we all know 2024 is going to be the big year, right? And then, so there's that thing. But aside from that, I still see a lot of calmness in neighborhoods. I still see a lot of American freedom that gives me a lot of hope. And so it seems like their only option is to do some kind of abrupt kind of attack or some kind of abrupt disruption to our day to day. That'd be the only way that they can, continue with their plan, whatever that may be. We know, but can't really talk about it too much on here. But so it seems like it's going to be like they're going to use these immigrants and these people that they're shipping over here for some other means. I don't know if it's going to be some kind of wartime, because I know they just caught a bunch of Chinese people in California that were straight Chinese military.
Well, they just got a Ponga boat 100 miles north that landed in Malibu, and the boat was there, but all the illegals that were on it were gone.
So what's a Ponga boat?
Ponga boat is it's like a humongous canoe with a couple outboard motors on it. That's what they used to. They do a lot of drug smuggling with them, and but 100 miles north of the border, they go out about 20 miles and then they swing back in, and that they landed on the beach in Malibu where all the Hollywood elites live.
So what do you think? What's going on here? You know what's going on, man. We could talk about it. We're gonna throw clips up.
What is
in the best way that you can? What do you feel like all of these people are going to be doing here? Are they going to be attacking us here? Are they just here to suck our economy dry with these benefits?
Basically, what it is it's called the Cloward-Piven strategy.
Right.
And I think I talked about it last time around.
I'm familiar with it, but if you can go through it, a quick gestalt for our guests, that'd be cool.
The Cloward-Piven strategy came up in the 60s when Pelosi, Feinstein, and all them were coming up in the Vietnam protests. And Cloward and Piven were a husband and wife team out of UC Berkeley. And the Cloward-Piven strategy is, if you bring enough impoverished people into a nation that has wealth, that after a certain amount of people come in, it can't sustain it anymore, and it collapses and turns into a socialist country. And that's what they're doing, is they're trying to collapse the country.
Okay, I mean, so then it seems like our only real out from this, because it's happening very quickly. Say Trump gets in there, we try a lot of people for treason. Whilst we hire up a bunch of Border Patrol agents, ICE agents, military folk, Guard, Reserve, and we ship all those dudes back.
That's what he said he was going to do. He said it'll be the largest deportation in the history of man.
Well, I think that's what we got to be doing, and it's possible to create a lot of jobs and would save the country a lot of money.
Yeah,
but and these people, I know Chinese people, man. I didn't do business. I don't want to say I did business with them because I didn't close any deals with them, but I was pushed into potential business deals with them. So I got to spend a lot of time with these guys. We ended up pushing them away because they didn't want to abide by our standards. If we want to do business with them, they had to hire veterans. They had to pay premium for the land they're trying to buy down here in southern New Mexico. And so we ended up pushing them away, but I got to know quite a bit of them, high level ones. And you know what, man, they're super racist. And they're weak, man. Their genetic pool is very weak. These are like high level Chinese people, and they were just like genetically dysfunctional. So I don't think that they have the skill set and the ability to really take on the American middle class, the retired veterans, the police force, all these other badasses that are armed to the teeth. I don't think any of these immigrants are going to fare too well against us in a one-on-one combat situation, an urban warfare style situation. So that being said, I feel like what we just talked about, Trump shipping them all back, is a more likely scenario. It's got to be done. Something's got to be done. It's either they take us over or we become a socialist country, which is what they want. They want a permanent underclass, right? So the technocrats can, rule us all, and basically use the American military as the apparatus with which to instill the rest of this to the rest of the world. So yeah, that's my take on it. it seems horrible. 600,000 every 3 months plus. So it's more like $250,000 a month. It sounds like to me. And it's, you said, from Pakistan, from China, from Africa. Is there any other demographics that you can share with us? Are they all military age men? Is it women? Is it kids? What's going on with the
I
demographics?
would say 90, 95% is nothing but males. And if they're leaving their countries because of hardship and everything else, what kind of man are you when you leave your women and children behind? You
So they
know,
want that. Yeah.
if something was happening here, which it probably will, there's no way in hell I would run. I would stand and protect women and children. But they're trying to say that, it's, they change the narrative all the time. Oh, they're economic migrants. Oh, they're climate change migrants. Oh, they're war migrants, or they're fearing for their life migrants. And they just keep spinning it over and over and over. So you don't also have to worry about all the military aged men that are coming through. You also have to look at the woke population in this country,
Supporting them.
the Antifas, the BLMs, now look at, you got all these college kids that are running around supporting Hamas.
Yeah.
So this is all part of their plan. They brainwash you into thinking that you're the bad guy, I'm the bad guy, everybody else needs to stand up against them. But what they failed to realize, like you said, is 20 years of unending wars created over 4 million combat veterans who just want to be left alone. Man, I don't know.
That could be the saving grace. That's ironic how things work like that, right? I mean, they funded all these proxy wars and these unjust wars, and eventually, I'm sitting with a veteran here myself. I'm a veteran here myself. You're a veteran too, right? I mean,
yep.
So it's like, we're the ones paying close attention, and we're the ones that have the combat arms training to take out a bunch of these people if we need to. I mean, I don't want to say it like that. I mean, like, look, if someone's going to come after me and my house, me and my family, I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to defend my family.
Right.
And I know you would too. However, that being said, it's scary to think about how, you're right, man. We got to look at the internal, the Antifa, the other woke lefties, and that's another weak population as well. I mean, those guys are all soyed out,
Yeah.
So it's just weird how it's all unfolding, man. I'm still optimistic. I hate to say that, but I do have a realistic perspective on it. It's like, well, I'm not going to get married to the idea that this is going to be a clean getaway if Trump gets in, because between now and when Trump gets in, we've got more of these guys coming in at $250,000 per the month, right? And then we got to worry about the crash of the dollar, which is going to happen next year as well. I mean, so us accessing our funds, us accessing the basic economy that we've come so accustomed to is not going to be there as well anymore either. So there's a lot of challenges that we as Americans, as America First people, constitutionalists, people who believe in freedom, that we all have to take into account and prepare for. What are you feeling? That, with me saying all that, where is your head at now with all this, man?
My head right now is, I still do what I do on the border, but right now I'm making sure that my garden is up and running, fruit trees, growing my own food, livestock, pigs, chickens, solar well to keep my water flowing, things like that. And if I get extra money, I buy lots of, not lots, but lots of, meaning 10 ounces at a time or so of silver, because like you say, the dollar is going to collapse. And when the dollar collapses, everything else is going to follow right behind it. So you better have a tangible source of income, be it bartering or precious metals. I mean, you can have all the ammo in the world, but everybody else already has all the ammo in the world too, so you can't be bartering that. And I got people going, yeah, I'm stocking up on hard alcohol to barter when it collapses. I go, well, that's probably the worst thing in the freaking world. Because
why?
Well, say you're bartering with somebody with alcohol and they see all your shit, and then they go out and drink that alcohol, get all 10 feet tall and bulletproof and come back and try to kick your shit.
Yeah, I was considering heavily running for office this next cycle, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I would rather focus on preparing and running in a few years because I'll be in a better position,
if
and
if there's
if
anything to run for in a few years.
I don't, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, Trump would have to get in and he'd have to start enacting that deportation. And then there's just so much to clean up, man. I mean, and then if you want to get biblical, let's get biblical because I know you're a man of God as well. Considering Revelation, what do you think, man? I mean, it's like a lot of people are supposed to die, right? But the path is narrow. And then we're talking about Palestine, we're talking about Hamas and all that and the Jewish nation. We know that there's going to be a lot of deception in these times. So theoretically, if you want to follow the Bible, a lot of people are going to be taken out, bro.
Yep. Well, I've read some things where they say that this is the last pope. And also, if you look at across the planet, this is what's known as the fourth turning. And it's the fourth time that the world is going to spin on its heels. It's going in the wrong direction, and it wakes up.
The polar.
Right. And if you look what's happening in Ireland. Look what's happening in France. They're done with the illegal immigration. People are starting to get pissed, and they're fighting back. The sad thing here in this country is we've gotten rid of all of our jobs, shipped them overseas to China and everything. We've turned into nothing but a consumer nation where now everybody is obsessed with buying the newest, latest, greatest Apple or vehicle or television or, instead of opening their eyes to see what's really in front of them. I equate what's going on right now as to basically the Matrix. You take the red pill and you wake up, or you take the blue pill and you stay asleep. And most people won't do anything until they feel that it's directly affecting them. That's why when you said earlier that you see calm throughout everywhere.
I do.
But that's because they don't feel that it's directly affecting them. Yet it has, when you look at the cost, $415 billion a year. That's taxpayer money, and plus the hundreds of billions that he's given to Ukraine and now to Israel and for all these bullshit wars.
Yeah. Wow, there's so much to go over. I mean, yeah. So, I mean, you really feel like there's not going to be an election next year? Do you think there's even going to be an election next year? I'll ask you that question.
There might be, but we already know how it's going to come out. If it, look at Biden won by 181 million votes, supposedly. That's more than Obama. That's more than Hillary. That's more than their top Democrat ever had. And I don't know. I have a strong feeling, and I've had it for the past year, that March, April, at the latest of next year, shit's going to hit the fan.
March and April. I agree with that assessment. I really do. And so I'm just going to be planning accordingly. I mean, right before I got off the phone with you, I got a really good job offer, and it's one I really couldn't refuse. And it just involved me not running for office, which at this point, you're just corroborating with what my gut was telling me. It's like, look, dude, it's almost not even worth it to run for office at this point, man. Things are too far gone. And I knew subconsciously, like, it's eerie how the calm in LA, the calm in Albuquerque, the calm in El Paso is so calm. It's literally the calm before the storm, right?
Yeah.
Because and I think if you're not privy to this knowledge that you have, if you're not awake to the red pill situation with the Matrix, as you put it, then you're going to get hit hard, brother.
Yep.
You're going to get floored.
Well,
right?
see, the big problem with most of the country is about 80% of the population has 3 days worth of food in their house because they're so used to going back and forth to the grocery store. Nobody has long term. We've forgotten how to take care of ourselves. We're going to go back in time. We're going to go back to the Great Depression, where everybody was in bread lines and soup lines, and people are trying to grow their own freaking food and go back to what we used to do.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. And I have storable food, and I have access to gardens and farmers and beef. But I'm one of the rare few that has those types of connections and the want to utilize those connections. I think most people don't even want to admit what's really going on, and they're going to be left. I feel sorry for a lot of people, man. But at the same time, if you're not into the Bible and you're not into what truth and reality is, you're gonna get what you deserve.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean,
especially if you go ahead.
I've got family members that think I'm a flaming lunatic and everything's rainbows and unicorns. And I tell them, you know what? When it comes, I'm sorry, I can't help you
Yeah,
because
what are you gonna do for them, right? I mean,
nothing.
it's a dead
You're
weight.
on your own. It's sad that people think that because again, they don't feel that it's directly affecting them.
Where do you think is a safe place for people to be? Now, I've studied this quite a bit since Biden got in. I've gotten obsessed with this, and so what I understand from off-gridders, from preppers, is you want to be as far away from any metropolitan city as possible,
Oh yeah.
because these cities are going to be inundated with crazy people who have no money, no food, no nothing.
Well, I mean, if you look at the big cities also along the highways, the center barriers now are the movable K rails. They're called the concrete,
Yes,
big sections of them.
yes.
Well, I always wondered why aren't you putting them in permanently? And my guess is so they can just pick them up and start putting them across the road and lock people in. It's like
It's so easy.
look at Phoenix. There's what, almost 6 million people in Phoenix, and there's basically 3 freaking roads out of there. It's
So it's either you're going to be out of the cities when this hits, or you're pretty much screwed.
That's where the zombie apocalypse will take place, is in the big cities, because people can live 2 weeks without food, but you can only live about 3 days without water. So, you're going to start seeing if the power goes down and ATM machines go down, cell phones go down, that's your biggest clue. You better get the flock out of Dodge. Then
Are
you
you
got
are you,
less. Huh?
are you set up for an off-grid situation already? Or, I mean, you don't have to tell me where you are, but are you set up?
Yeah, I'm out in the middle of freaking nowhere. Yeah, uh, I'm still investing any spare
Okay.
money into my preps. I mean, I'm good for, I'd say, a couple of years easy.
That's got to feel good, man. Well, you deserve it, and you've earned it. You've been out there fighting on the front line for a long time. I've honestly, because it's funny, man. When Trump was about to get out of office, it's like 2019. There was a lot of shows that were on YouTube that got banned. Now they're not even around. But one of the shows, Age of Wonder, had an interview with an individual that says he's from the future, right? And it was one of those guys, and you can call me conspiracy theory or whatever. But what the guy said was pretty interesting, man. He basically said, in the future, everyone's going to have their own TV show. There will be a big war, and there's going to be a big currency war, most first and foremost. But from the time that he came from, there's going to one of the main currencies is going to be like a rainbow colored dollar bill, and it's going to have JFK on it. And there's going to be little communities that people dictate who does and doesn't come into. Like, you have to earn your keep. You have to bring something to the table
Yeah,
just to even get into these.
they're gonna be fiefdoms.
Fiefdoms. What's that? Say that again.
Fiefdoms.
Fiefdoms.
Basically,
I've never
like
heard that term.
back in the Dark Ages, where they were just little, basically like warlords that control a certain area, and it's like you're either in or you're out. You come anywhere near it, you're gonna die. And another thing that I just thought of was reminding me about growing your own vegetables and stuff and beef and stuff, because they're putting the mRNA sequence in vegetables and in livestock now.
I know, man. I just bought some steaks from Walmart, man. I reluctantly did so.
Yep. It's they're and I saw a video clip from the World Economic Forum where the lady is speaking. Can't remember her name, and she's saying that we were hoping to achieve a 70 to 80% vaccination rate worldwide, and we failed there. But we have a different plan where if we put it in the water, everybody has to have it.
Yeah, who was that guy that did Burnham? He did the whole financial collapse of the real estate bubble. I forgot his name. Michael Burry. He predicts he predicted long ago, and even still now, it says that water is the next big thing to invest in. Like water is going to be scarce.
Blue gold is what they're going to call it.
And so you can do. I mean, if you got a decent well, you ought to start storing it, filtering it, storing it. Or you can buy yourself I have a charcoal water filter. And I think I'm going to buy another couple more of them, and with more filters. And I have a gravity fed water filter. And the best water I ever had, the best my body's ever functioned was when I dropped bottled water and only drank water from my charcoal filter.
Well, bottled water is basically straight out of a tap.
It is. I just learned. Dude, I love this conversation. I was actually having dinner with a gentleman in Hollywood Saturday night. I just stumbled across. His company specializes in using UV light to disinfect public water systems. And he said, look, there's only like 3 bottled water companies that are like it's Avion and Fiji. I forgot what the other one was, but those are the only 2 actual bottled water companies that actually filter their water. All the other bottled waters are like you said, they're freaking out of the tap.
Yeah, Arrowhead and all those other ones, they're all just straight out of the tap.
And he corroborated that. He's like, yeah, for sure. He's like, I'll never drink anything but Avion or Fiji ever.
And I don't think you have to. I mean, if they do that mRNA in the water supply, it's basically just municipal water supplies, and it's not well water. I mean, I did a sample. I sent it in because it was free. We'll test your water, and it's like, oh yeah, you got calcium, you got magnesium, you got potassium, and everything else in your water. We can sell you a reverse osmosis machine to take all that out. I was going, wait a second, doesn't your body want calcium and iron and magnesium and all the good shit? Why do I want worthless water?
Yeah, if it's not treated properly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the big stuff, man. I mean, what would be? So I guess the next question is how can we get the message out there? I mean, is it even worth telling people? Because this is going to create panic. And honestly, bro, I'm right there with you, man. I've given up on the false hope because I think QAnon and a lot of that's a lot of false hope. That's like a Bolshevik false hope psyop 2.0. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's controlled dissent.
Controlled dissent. It is. It truly is. So I can't go out there kicking and screaming. I'm going to go and talk to my personal friends and family and just give them the heads up. I'm in a situation where I can actually move right now. I have the money to move wherever I want right now.
Right.
And so I am going to be moving out of the cities, bro. And I'm going to be preparing. And just I have my new company is remote. I can do it remote. I can do this podcast remote. But most people don't have those luxuries. And I guess all we can do is pray for them and hope that they see the light and see the way. But biblically, how attuned are you with the Bible? Can you give me some biblical insight on all this, man? Because I enjoy that. I enjoy hearing that stuff.
Well, from what I understand, my interpretation is this is the last pope, and you can, I mean, he's got to be, because look, he just invited trannies to the Vatican to have lunch. Did you see that?
I didn't see that, but that's a big red flag.
Oh yeah. And now he's going after Israel. And but from what I understand, there'll be 7 years of darkness before the light.
7 years of darkness before the light. And that makes sense. Because if you just consider all of the evil that this world has been engaging in for how long, I mean, they've been doing this stuff to children for centuries. I mean, I truly believe that's why Christ came, because Sodom and Gomorrah, the Romans, they were all hardcore engaging in human sacrifice, child sacrifice, the Babylonians. And so Christ came. He was the only push against that. up until today. It was only, and it was America. But even in America, after World War II, they really took Operation Paperclip and the Nazis who coined, blackmailing and using that type of blackmail on the rest of the world via the Pentagon. So the Pentagon did it around the world to instill communism and socialism around the world. Now they're doing it against their own people here in America. So all that cumulative evil is something that we're going to have to make amends with as a society, as a species. And 7 years sounds about appropriate. It does, man.
Yeah. And
You
that's what I tell people, I mean, you better have at least 6 months worth of food stocked up at the bare minimum, because that'll give you enough time to start growing stuff. I mean, I've also been heavily investing in vegetables and herb seeds and just tons and tons of seeds. I'm getting organic heirloom seeds where they're not genetically modified, and it's I don't know, it all seems at times like it could never happen, but when I sit and look around, I go, it is happening.
Yeah, it's already happening. Well, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, you got 7 years. I mean, I don't know how in tune you are with the Bible, but you say 7 years, and we talked about the polar shift. Do you think things are going to crash? We've got 7 years of darkness, and do you think at the end of that 7 years it's going to be a polar shift? Because essentially, people have argued that when the poles shift and when there's no more magnetic atmosphere, that people can ascend to the sun, or the sun's going to cook and bake everything and kill everybody. What do you think is going to happen? And there's a Planet X theory as well. There's another planet coming in from outside the solar system that's supposed to be getting in close as well. So there's all those theories. The solar flares as well. We can talk about solar flares too, which they keep talking about in the news.
Well, we can also talk about the flat Earth.
There's a lot of flat earthers these days. I run into them all the time now, man.
And I ask those people, I go, so how in the hell is the water being held? Oh, there's a big ice wall around the whole planet. I said, oh, okay. I said, nice. But climate change, obviously all the
I think what is driving that? It's a consciousness shift. What is the underlying driver behind that, you say?
Because they're becoming so blatant with their ideology that
their
people
agenda
are starting to look and see. It's like, wait a second, this is not good. This is not good for us. It's not good for me. It's not good for anybody. So people are waking up, and they've been waking up for the past, well, I'd say, right around 2020, when they realized that it was a fraudulent election, and they keep seeing more fraudulent elections happening in states and things like that. And the immigration that is, it's not even immigration.
No. We're being under attack.
It's an invasion. But it's not just happening here, it's happening all across the planet. And if you look at what's happening across the planet, they're only going to white European Christian nations.
They hate white people. They really do.
Yeah. And they're going to do.
And black people. They really hate white people and black people, like bad. Like Hispanics are not really in the talks about who they're going to kill, the Chinese and these other globalists. I guess because they're going to use most of us to destroy everything, right? So they got to play ball with somebody.
Right.
And so, but yeah, they really hate white people and black people. That's one thing I've really learned as of recent. They really, really hate you guys, man.
Well, we have a congressman here, Raul Gravaldia,
Mm-hmm.
who has been in for like 23 years, is useless POS. He is connected with La Raza, which is the militant wing of La Raza. Is basically, they follow the plan of Aslan. Have you ever heard of that? Where they say California, New Mexico, Colorado, Arizona, and I think it's Nevada and Utah were taken, and they want to kill all the white people in those states and take it back for Mexico. And he's tied in with La Raza. He's also part of the Socialist Democrat Party.
These people are sick, man. And I just found out today, one of our biggest campaign contributors was supposedly of the Patriots of New Mexico. He was a very well-off billionaire here in New Mexico, close to a billionaire, and his wife as well. I won't say any names, but he got put up on some child abuse charges. One of his neighbors that got dismissed, but knowing that, it's like, well, they've infiltrated everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
There's really more evil than there is good on the earth at this point, especially if you consider how ignorant and how disconnected most humans are. If you can, because the people who are doing the evil, they know what they're doing. They know they've made their choice. They're going to go with their father, Satan. And then there's us, the Christians. So if you consider all that, there's way, way, way more of them than us at this point. We're basically living in hell right now.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what I tell people. When I die, I know I'm going to heaven. They're going, how do you know? Because I'm living in hell.
Yeah. I mean, for a lot of people, they're already living in hell. I mean, when you see a meth head screaming at the top of their lungs, or hopped up on fentanyl, and you see like these homeless encampments in Seattle, those people are living in hell, bro. They're gone.
Well, that's all part of the plan. It's a divide and conquer, because the homeless and the drug addicted, they're not going to vote. They're not going to care if you take away their rights. They're not going to fight for it. All they're worried about is where they're going to get their next high from. And speaking of which, right now, this past year, 115,000 OD'd on fentanyl last year.
Number one killer in the country.
Yep.
Fentanyl.
And the number one killer of teenagers.
I mean, they're doing such a good job. They've kept everybody so ignorant. They've kept everybody so uneducated and so distracted with, as a consumerist society. I've just lost faith in most of humanity. And I hate to say that, guys, but I do. I'm optimistic. I think humanity will prevail. I think the power of the Lord is beyond anything that Satan could ever do. Satan's just doing what God told him to do, which is to test us.
Yep.
So I can't fault Satan. It's just, you realize that humanity by and large spiritually was not prepared for this, let alone financially, physically, mentally. Just spiritually, people are on the wrong foot, man. They're distracted and they're into sin. It's so easy to sin right now. You can go and get involved with whatever you want. It's right there, available to you at your fingertips.
I just, I have television, but it's only to watch movies or what I want to watch. I don't watch regular television because my mom used to call it the boob tube. And so I was surfing Netflix the other night, and there's a new show on there called Obliterated. And I was blown away. It's supposed to be this elite government operations group that goes after terrorists and stuff. I was just like, are you kidding me? I mean, they're doing LSD, MDMA, magic mushrooms, these, and there was orgies, and I was like, what in the hell has happened to this country.
Yeah, they just allowed active duty military that wear beards. They can file for a religious exemption. They can, most active duty guys rock a full beard now. The standards of everything have just plummeted, bro.
Oh
The
yeah.
food, the water, the morality. The churches don't do nothing, bro. The churches are more concerned with making money than they are preparing people for what's to
They're
come.
making a lot of money right now with what's going on. Catholic Church
Well,
is making the most. They're probably at about close to 200 million a year with the illegal immigration. And then you've got,
yeah, they're bringing them in. They're housing them until they find a home for them. Yeah, I've seen that.
And then you got the Presbyterians, the
Unitarians.
Yep, the Episcopalians.
Methodists.
They're all into it. It's all money.
Yeah, it's that 501(c)(3). You get the tax exemption, but then you give the federal government access to you, be it you're beholden to them, or they have a direct channel of communication to them and say, hey, you do this, we got you. And that's what I think is really going on, especially with the LGBTQ movement in the churches. It's like, look, you guys be LGBTQ friendly, we got you with these other benefits aside from the tax exemption. Right. And that's just what I see. I do have one church. I go to it. That is waking people up. They're great. I don't know how long they're going to last, but it's a beautiful church. I know the pastor. I went to high school with him, and he knows exactly what we're talking about. He's trying to get people prepared, and he doesn't care what he has to say. He'll say it. And that's why I give him money and I support him.
Well, yeah, I mean, and like you said, the churches, because they take government money, are beholden to them. And that's why, none of them, the only church that during the COVID fiasco that went against government witches was the one up in Canada. And they arrested him.
He got hit hard. Yeah, he got hit hard. They went after him a few times. He's still being prosecuted.
Yeah. Yep. They just arrested him again a couple of weeks ago.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. They just got him again. So I don't know if New Mexico is the right place to be with all this. I mean, it's pretty isolated. There's some pretty isolated places.
Well,
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Your governor just flew to the climate change summit in the UAE.
I know.
To go schmoozle with all the rich Arabs.
Well, you do have Elon Musk fighting again. I mean, so the big celebrities are coming out against it. They're being persecuted. Trump is there. There is a big populist movement electing populist politicians all over the world. So there are glimmers of hope, but they've already got so many systems in place to take us out. Like, they can just cut the power, bro. It's so easy for them to cut the power. Yep. That's our most vulnerable system. They take out a couple generators and it's over.
You get the millennials, they'll be walking around like this.
Freaking out, bro. They're going to go crazy. We're going to be seeing people who are going insane, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't get on TikTok.
Yeah, freaking Chinese TikTok. Well, I don't even know what the time is, man. I'm talking to you and it's like, oh man, we just blew through an hour. I knew it, man. It's just like, I can talk about this for hours, bro, because this is what's important to me. This is why I got into politics. I got into Trump back in 2017. I got involved with Congressman Yvette Herrell because she was the only pro-America Republican politician that I can find, and I still love her to this day. Then I started getting behind Trump. I was with Trump too, but I started really getting involved. But all the while, I learned about all this stuff, bro. The open borders, the New World Agenda, creating a permanent underclass via Marxism. And I've just been preparing for this moment, man, spiritually and financially as best as I can. So it's really an honor to talk to you, brother, and to hear your insights and for you to corroborate what my instincts have been telling me for about 6 years now, and what everything's been leading us to this point. This is going to be it's going to be a cathartic moment coming up here soon, right? I mean, and you speculate it's going to be April, March.
March, April. Yep. That's what my gut feeling has been telling me for about a year. And because I look at it in a military standpoint, what usually happens in March, April?
Always.
Spring offensive.
Yeah, the snow clears up. It's good. It's good conditions for tanks, for whatever.
Well, it's good to mostly peaceful protests where they can burn cities down for freaking 6 months, like they did a couple of years ago.
So what other resilience have you run into? Have you run into anyone else that's trying to push back against this? I mean, you're a freaking Lone Ranger out there, bro. What's going on?
I've got quite a. I've tried to get some of my neighbors on board with me. It's like, look, this is what I'm doing. If you want in, you're more than welcome, but you got to put in the time, the effort of putting up the fences, of tilling the ground, of, and sharing the cost. And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they go back to their, it's like they're like, most people are like dogs. Say you take your dog out for a walk and you're cruising along and all of a sudden the dog goes, squirrel, and looks off the other direction. It's like, look, we were going over here. Nope, squirrel. Most people have the attention span of a freaking gnat.
Yeah, especially with TikTok and everything, where they're just decreasing the length of the video. I think we're down to like 6-second videos now are the most popular 6 to 10-second videos. So,
well, I think it's a 30-second video on my channel, and it's got over 5 million views.
When was that launched?
Beginning of the year.
Oh man, you got to send that to me. I'll share that with sucker, bro.
It's the cartel driving through Phoenix past highway patrol with a 50 cal resting up against the dashboard. AK-47s in between the seat, and the cup holders had like 5 pistols, and they're blasting the narco corridos, the music. Not a care,
dude.
Not a care in the world.
Wow, man. They have, and there's, man. So I think it's just best just to get out of the cities, man. I mean, you're not going to be able to combat all those Mexican drug cartels, all the power that they got. Then you compound it with these illegals coming in from Pakistan, China, and everywhere else. Then you got the Antifa, libtards out there.
And well, once it collapses, then the cartel will be moot, because
they're going to die too.
There'll be no more immigration problem, and there'll be no more selling drugs and shit. They'll have to be worried about bringing anything through because everybody's going to be shooting everybody.
Holy smokes, man. It's happening, bro. It's undeniable. There's no way we're turning it back. It's going to happen. It's done. It's just a matter of time.
Yep. It has to happen.
What? Yeah. It has to happen. There's no way around it, man. There's just,
they even said back in the founding days, the Tree of Liberty needs to be refreshed once in a while. And I think this is it. And if you look out through history, most empires last anywhere from 200 to 250 years. You know where we are?
We're just over 200, right? I mean,
249.
Oh, I thought I got to 300.
No,
250, huh?
Yep.
Wow, dude. So that's a sacred geometry, patternistic, universal, algorithmic truth right there. If it's 250, that's 250, bro. Like every 80 years, I know a war breaks out, right? And so we're about due for it.
Now I think it's down to about 20.
Well,
it used to be every 80 for major wars, but since the turn of the century, it's turned into every 20.
Do you believe in the quickening idea? You know what I'm talking about? Because we're getting closer to like universal energies. Getting focused in closer to the center of the galaxy. So there's like more energy. So time is speeding up. Everything around us is actually compounding time-wise. Like 1 year is now worth 10 years, and so on and so forth. As we get closer to this cathartic moment that we're talking about. Are you familiar with that?
No, but maybe that's why I feel so old.
I know, man. I'm feeling old.
I put 10 years on in the last year.
Dude, well, what you do and what you have to deal with and what you have to convey, I mean, you're at the front lines of the biggest change and shift in human consciousness in world history, man. That's got to be some heavy burden on your shoulders, bro.
Here's another tidbit about the border. So we've got down here, we have the humanitarians, right, that leave the food and water out for everybody and anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're now having to give food and water to the armed cartels that are in the scout locations on the border so that they can still access that area to leave out food and water. So now these humanitarians are now giving logistics to the cartel.
And the cartels who run the states, I know Arizona has been, you just, shed some light on the congressman, and I know the governor as well. Here in New Mexico as well, our governor's been caught. They pretty much throw it in your face. They take pictures with them. They take selfies with them now.
Yeah. Well, down there in your state, the Boot Heel, that's all cartel.
Wow, man, this is so much to wrap my head around, but I agree with you. But so, okay, let me go back before we call it a show, because we got to call it a show because we started a little late. So we got about 5 minutes, real quick. The fourth turning. Let's go back and revisit that, because you said that kind of happened after World War II again, or what cycle is that?
No, the World War II was just before World War II. World War I and World War II were 2 and 3 of the
okay.
turning. This is the fourth turning. The fourth turning is basically, I would say, started going full speed right after 2020, when the election turned into a fraud, and
right.
people started waking up around the planet as to what was going on. I mean, with the mass migration worldwide, and the lies they were being told about the wars, I mean, look at even the Iraq wars. Oh, he's got weapons of mass destruction. Man, there was no weapons of mass destruction. And if he did have weapons of mass destruction, Saddam Hussein, we would have been the ones that gave them to him, because we were the ones that put him in power through the CIA in a color revolution. And that's why Ukraine is in the mess it's in, is because of another color revolution that happened
dynamic.
with the CIA.
Same exact dynamic. Yep.
And guess what? This is a color revolution in our country, but a different type of one perpetrated by the CIA.
Well, Argentina, after decades, was able to reverse it. They got Javier Milei in there, and they still have hyperinflation to deal with. They're still like 150% inflation, so they got some work to do still.
Yeah.
But
he said he's going to get rid of the central bank right off the bat.
But that's huge, bro. They got to be protecting that guy like crazy, because I know Trump. He had the way he eats. Like, he has I think I don't know, a bunch of people go get food from the same restaurant, and if they're not back within an hour, they don't get in the room, and he lays out all the food that everybody bought, and he picks a bag at random every day, because he could get poisoned. And I think Javier Milei has got to have and there's conservative politicians who are winning worldwide who are getting shot in the face, getting stabbed, hitting overhead with bottles.
Yep.
So Javier Milei, we got to pray for him, because, man, that guy, I love that guy. One thing I learned, and we can go a little bit longer if we need to. This is a good point. I'd like to get your insight on this. I learned post World War II, the Nazis, as you know, went to the Ukraine, and they also went to Argentina, primarily Argentina. They took a lot of the gold they stole and everything, the rich they stole. They went to Argentina. Arguably, that's where Hitler went, right? It was like a fake suicide.
Well,
but from there, how they spread communism through Latin America is they infiltrated Argentina's workers' unions and promised all these crazy unemployment benefits and what have you. And then they spread Marxism from there, and then eventually it crept up to New Mexico, because I was studying how New Mexico got so Marxist, how it became to be the worst state in the country. And that was what I came up with historically. What do you think about that theory?
Oh, right on the freaking money. I mean, it's also, if you look at Mexico, what the fastest growing religion in Mexico is?
Well, it's Satanism, probably.
Muslim.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Because they're so broke that in the beginning they were all Catholics, because the Catholic Church would donate so much food and clothing and stuff like that. Well, now the Muslims are doing it, so everybody's converting over to
Islam.
Yep.
Wow, I did not hear that. You're blowing my mind with all this stuff right now. So that's so for me, when I see a guy like Javier Milei, because I've been studying Argentina for a while, for years. When I first got into politics, 2017, I learned about this, and I'm actually personal friends with people who immigrated from Argentina to escape the Marxist. And they're beautiful people. They came over here and they got their American dream going. They're business owners, great family, man. But it seems to me that with Javier Milei winning, that theoretically freedom should spread from there. How
Yeah.
long it's going to take? Probably about 7 years, bro.
Yep. And then you've got also the president of El Salvador.
Oh, El Salvador as well. This is so crazy. My Uber driver in California was from El Salvador. And she says it's a great place to visit right now. It's cleanest and safest it's ever been. She's ever seen it ever.
Oh yeah, he's built two of the biggest prisons on the planet and has stuffed them with like 100,000 MS-13s and said, "This is where you're gonna live the rest of your lives."
I'm not ready to move to freaking El Salvador, bro, or Argentina, one or the other.
Well, if the influx keeps coming this way, then yeah, I might go south and set me up a hammock on a beach.
That's what a lot of guys who are into what we're talking about, they're talking about El Salvador and Argentina, man. The land's real cheap over there. They got good presidents, and you know they're doing podcast interviews of people who already made the move, and they're singing happy right now, bro. They're saying, "Come on down. It's a good place to come."
Yeah, because we're turning this place into well, not we, but our government is turning this into a third world country.
And I feel like it's just going to happen abruptly, bro. With the calm before the storm that I've been witnessing, I've just traveled all throughout the Southwest. These are border cities I've been spending a lot of intimate time in, and it is eerily calm that you mentioned that. And so that's not good. That's not good.
No. Well, because I just read an article today. There's a company called Swift Air. Mm-hmm. They have a contract with DHS. They flew 350 flights out of Arizona, and every flight was packed full of illegals. They're flying them all over the country. It's actually a video on YouTube from he's called Monkey Works, WERX. And
yes, I've heard about them.
He studies all the air traffic in the country.
Yes.
And it is mind-blowing. 350 flights out of Arizona. And that's just a contracted company. Then you've got Tucson airports packed every day with illegals with their 8x11 manila envelope where they don't have to show ID or anything else, but they can get on a plane past TSA and everything else. And, you know, and if you got kids in school, get them out, because every kid in this country has to be vaccinated, but none of the third world is vaccinated. So they're seeing outbreaks in elementary schools of chicken pox, smallpox, mumps, measles, everything that we got.
White lung.
Yep, everything we got rid of. There's non-treatable tuberculosis coming in the country. There's everything. Ebola and Chinga virus. It's insane. You know, and
wow, man.
You keep packing people in and packing them in so that they're so densely packed in big cities. Of course, you're going to have a pandemic. I mean, you get somebody who has non-treatable TB or Ebola and then goes into New York City and takes out the whole place.
Okay, well, hey, man, Mr. Foley, whew, give it up for Mr. Foley. Thank you, sir, for everything you've done. God bless you, sir. I mean, you're just an amazing, you're one of the most amazing humans I've ever met, man. I swear to God, I'm not an understatement, man. You have blown my mind every single time I've talked to you, and the work that you're doing is, I'm going to do you know what, despite everything we talked about, you know, and I remember earlier when we talked about, hey, maybe it's better if we just keep it on the low. But, you know, I think we're supposed to spread the word of God.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to do everything I can to get this information out there. And I'm going to do what I can to get you in touch with my state representative that I trust with this, Jennifer Jones. I think we mentioned her before. And I think we all ought to be trying to file for states of emergency and pushing our governors to acknowledge that this is going on. And that could be the push against this system that helps us 7 years go a little bit easier and helps save that much more souls into this transition that we're about to go through. And that's just what I feel like. I'm still going to protect myself and go out of my way to survive. But in the meantime, as men of God, we ought to be spreading the word as much as we can. And I give you my word that I will be doing that for you, sir.
Yeah.
And for humanity.
Well, they want you to sit down, shut up, and watch the boob tube. They don't want you opening your mouth.
No, and I've got a good platform, and we have good ways to get this stuff out there. So God bless you, sir. I'm going to say a quick prayer before we end it up here, guys. Mr. Foley, Lord, please continue to protect Mr. Foley. Continue to give him the strength and the energy to report back to us what we are about to go through. And I pray that as many people as possible wake up to this and they protect themselves, they protect their families, and then you protect us, Lord, that we are fighting for your message, that you continue to give us all the strength and the power and the energy that we need to live for you, Lord. Thank you for all the blessings that you've given us and everything that you've given us up to this point so we can meet with gentlemen like Mr. Foley. God bless Mr. Foley, sir. Thank you so much for coming in. The floor is yours, sir. Go ahead and end the show however you feel is best to get the message out there, because I'm going to be sharing the hell out of this.
You can, I have just 2 social media. One is YouTube and one is Facebook. You want to see, what I pick through and find about what's happening. Arizona Border Recon on Facebook and Arizona Border Recon on YouTube. And,
Arizona Border Recon.
Yep.
Okay, and on Facebook. Okay, everybody, that's what it is. Check out Mr. Tim Foley there, Arizona Border Recon on YouTube, Arizona Border Recon on Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in to Chips and Salsa Show, New Mexico. We will be having you back again, sir. Would you mind coming back on a monthly basis from now until when shit hits the fan in April?
Yeah.
We'll give you a special spot.
I'll like I said, I'm gonna go check out this ranch in the next couple days, and I'll let you know what happens.
Yeah, we'll get you on a spot, a monthly spot, and we'll start promoting you that every month we're going to have Mr. Foley on. Please tune in if you want a border update, because we talk about more than just the border. We get into esoteric stuff. We get into spiritual stuff. This is the talk that humans need to be having right now. This is it.
Yep.
This is what we're here for right now.
Yep.
So I love you, brother. Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you for your service. Man, I can't thank you enough. And I'll be praying for you every day, bro. And I'm looking forward to speaking with you again, man. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, Mr. Foley. Later, Tim. We'll see you guys later. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out, guys.